Alrighty, everybody, we are back with our second episode of the podcast, and
we fired Cleo.
We fired Cleo. We'll tell the story on why Cleo isn't here today, but we have two brand new people on the podcast. If you've watched a few of our vlogs, you might have seen these people. We'd like to introduce you guys to Ashley and Heidi.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
How are you guys doing? Oh, of course, my co-host Jess.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, we're both the hosts. Yeah. Ashley and Heidi, I think we need to introduce who you guys actually are, because I don't know if we've ever shared the story about these guys on the podcast before.
I feel like we randomly just show up in random vlogs, once a year or every now and then.
Someone gets pregnant. I was going to say you guys are known as the ones with the cute kids.
Yes.
Well, which, speaking of, Hugo gets noticed, not us.
He actually did get noticed the other day by a person who stopped us and was like, "We saw you. Like, do you guys know Flying the Nest?" Which is like...
They weren't all holding a porta potty open. It was just like...
I know. No one was urinating. It was fine.
How was Hugo? Like, what was that like?
Oh, he was so grumpy. I was like, that's a bit embarrassing. But did you understand? No, not at all. But I just love that they saw him and then they were like, oh, I guess they're his parents.
We're not Hugo's parents.
No. And another thing Hugo does is he gets a phone and he vlogs for us, right? He knows that when you have a camera, it's something to do with Stephen and Jess. So he picks up his phone and he's like, hi, Stephen and Jess, this is what I'm doing today. Mum, what do you think of this?
This is the fridge. This is the pizza we're eating. What do you think of the pizza, Dad? And then Stephen and Jess, we're just about to go and play a game. I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't care. Do you expect me to send this to Stephen and Jess every time?
Every single one that comes through is the best. We get little 3-year-old candy shake videos.
And he knows you see them, but I don't think he realises how they get to you.
Yes.
So he just takes the video and assumes that you see it.
We are just having a pizza party. And what do you think, Daddy?
I think it's pretty yummy.
And what are we eating?
We're eating pizza.
And what do you think?
Great videos, Bob.
What do you think, Hughes?
Well, we actually have a few of our nieces and nephews on WhatsApp. I suppose Hugo's way too young to have a phone. But when he does get a phone, he can add us.
We'll have all these videos getting sent to us from Hugo.
I know. Yeah, no control from us.
But I thought I'd introduce Ashley is actually my oldest friend. We met in, 2002?
Year 7.
Year 7.
At school.
I moved from, because if you guys remember, I moved from South Africa and then I moved down to Albany after a couple of years of spending in Norseman, and we went to school together just for 1 year, though.
Yeah.
At Bethel.
Yeah, and I feel like we actually became better friends after
Yeah,
you were
definitely.
actually at school, because you're only with us for a year.
Which isn't long enough.
No, and then you went to the high school in Albany, and then you moved to Perth.
Yes.
And I feel like we actually became better friends almost once you're in Perth.
Yeah, that is so true.
No,
Yeah,
remember
I would say so, yeah.
On the summer holidays, Ashley would come up and see Stephen. And I always remember because you would go to work and Ashley's
this story up.
come all the way up to see you. So then he's sitting in your room watching the OC. Well, you're
Yeah,
at work.
then you're like, by the way, I'm working for 4 of these days. I'm like, well, I guess... I don't know how buses work in Perth. I'll just sit and watch the OC.
That's his dream life. Let's not joke around. He was stoked.
Yeah, it's a good life.
And then Heidi, we met... When did you introduce us to Heidi?
We started going out probably 2012, so it wouldn't have been long after we started dating that we probably introduced her to you
The
guys.
introduction to the friends.
Yes.
Do we remember where it was?
I remember where it was. If you listen to the last podcast, we like to talk about restaurants here in Perth. And we met her at Sienna's, which is an Italian restaurant. And I'll never forget it, because who goes to an Italian restaurant and orders calzones? You either order pasta or pizza, but she ordered a calzone and she only ate 2 mouthfuls for it.
Can I just say, this comes up, I'm going to say every 6 months as I make this stupid calzone. I can't believe I've ordered it. You know, it seems normal to me, but apparently it seems weird.
I think it's weird.
Isn't it a folded pizza?
I don't know even what... I'd never heard of it until
think-
you'd ordered it.
I've never had one. What is a calzone?
I don't know. Now I'm doubting it. But last night I was eating pizza thinking about this, and I folded my pizza and I was like, see, it's just a pizza folded. Why is it weird?
And I remember you only had 2 pieces, and then I was like, oh, I don't know about... I got 2 bites. I was like, don't know about Heidi, but then after, you wanted to go get ice cream. And then I was like, okay.
Classic.
Yeah.
Saving room for dessert.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
We said to Ashley, we approve.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've ever been back to Sienna's afterwards.
No, we haven't.
One random random time.
Hey,
you have to leave it just for that one time.
I do have a birthday next week. So
Sienna.
I'm just putting feelers out for Sizzlers is closing down, so we can't go to Sizzlers anymore.
And all the lines, they're like long lines out the door.
Yes, just to get the cheesy bread.
We should just be a Perth topical news thing.
I
because
know.
that's all
Just
we
talk
got.
about Perth restaurants.
Restaurant reviews.
Yeah.
But that is really how we know Ashley and Heidi. So I would say they're like closest friends, oldest friends, definitely.
We should also mention that Cleo isn't fired.
Yes, Cleo is currently, well, where is she at the moment, Jess?
So she drove on a road trip up north. So she's currently up there enjoying the warm weather. So she'll be back on the next episode.
Someone has to be travelling.
Yeah, exactly. Someone always has to be somewhere with us.
So, I mean, I think that is the longest introduction in the world.
I have one more thing to mention. Stephen, you have a song that you need to sing to us?
What do you mean, sing to you?
Stephen has come up with a song for the podcast.
Yes, we're still looking for people to do a song, but what do
So
you mean? Like,
the other day he was in the shower and he was like, Jess, I have a song I want to sing you. So he sang it to me. And then later that night he didn't know I was recording him. And I went, Stephen, what's that song idea that you had? And I have it on recording.
Oh, do you actually? I'm so excited.
Are you ready?
Do you not know
What-
that? I have
That's
it on
really
here.
when
funny.
did you do
So
this?
remember today...
Did you just reach for a button?
Sorry. Remember today I asked you how do you add things on here and you showed me?
Yeah, I thought
And then
that
you
was,
went up
was
to the
something
shops
else.
and I did.
That's
Preloaded.
so funny.
All right, so
Can we not push that?
welcome
button?
to... Everyone, welcome to Stories from Flying the Nest.
It's the little podcast by Stephen Jess. Stories by Flying the Nest. The little podcast by Stephen and Jess. Listen stories to tell.
And as you can tell, it's like it's super late at night and he's there singing really quiet.
Because I'm just sleeping. I can hear a sound machine. I'm so red.
You need someone to make that song
Yes.
into your
epic.
make it
like
epic.
really just add a beat. Oh, I'm so excited.
Did you like it? That was like a draft.
Oh my god.
I am like so embarrassed now. I don't know if I can continue with this podcast. But, oh my goodness, I've lost my train of thought. But before we continue, I wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping. We're trying to work out this podcast, trying to get some flow to the podcast. A little bit of housekeeping. If you guys missed the last vlog, it was a little 4-month update of Hunter. And I kind of feel like we just do these because we're just obsessed of looking back at footage of her. So I hope you enjoyed that 12 minutes of cuteness. If you did, leave a comment. Let us know you came from the podcast.
You mean from the YouTube channel?
From the YouTube channel. And also, a couple of more housekeeping. The Twilight fanfiction podcast you listened to was called Imprint.
Oh yeah, someone had listened to it. I was so happy.
And speaking of Twilight, you asked me like 2 weeks ago, coming out of the little Mary Poppins cupboard, you asked me to buy this for you, the new podcast book, the new Twilight book. Have you started it?
No. So if you're listening, Stephen has currently pulled out Midnight Sun. It is the latest book in the Twilight series. It just came out a couple of weeks ago, and I've yet to start it, but I do have it.
Why have you not read it yet?
I've had to
Oh, do you know what? I need
You
to
made me
whip
start
up-
a podcast, that's why.
It's quite topical as well because like only a few weeks ago Heidi asked to watch the Twilight films for the first time ever. And she had no like exposure about really what they were or what they were about. So she watched them all with fresh eyes, which is quite an experience.
Thoughts?
Welcome to the Twilight fanfiction podcast. This is
This is a regular segment of podcast.
Yeah. Look, maybe if I was 15, maybe then I'd be really into it.
I'm just going to say, you did sit and watch every single one.
That is so true. I say this, I actually watched all of them, and I definitely wanted to know what happened next. So
See?
I can't hate too much.
good.
But super interesting.
How would you rank them? Like, would you...
Look. It's just the thing of like a vampire thing. It's just weird. Fantasy in general just doesn't
Oh yeah, I
grip me.
forgot.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's one thing about Heidi you should know, and that she doesn't have an imagination.
It's actually
I'm not even
true.
being mean. She has stated this herself.
It's very true. Like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. I
Don't
can't.
say that you
You're
don't
getting
watch
a lot of
Harry
haters
Potter.
right
Oh
now,
wow.
trust
Okay,
me.
backpedal. I didn't say anything.
Okay, all right. So, if you guys watch the podcast,
Oh, excited.
Excited.
Ashley talked about this in the car on the way here. He was like, "I'm already excited for what's going to come next."
and it's so excited for you guys to come on, but we need to celebrate
What is this? I was saying he was so excited for the ginger beer, and then I see some red thing.
Wait, I hope you're still excited. So we've decided.
I'm more excited.
Okay, good.
Creaming soda.
So
Phil Vanderberg made one drink.
Funny enough, they made 22. So we're
Oh
going to
my
go through
goodness.
every single flavour on this podcast. And if we make it to 22, that's almost a full year.
Yeah, so
So-
today Stephen has pulled out of his little cupboard
Mm-hmm.
Bundaberg Burgundy Creaming Soda.
I'm excited.
Hope you guys are ready for the pop.
I need to put my microphone here and...
Nice.
Woo! All right, I don't remember trying this one. I'm sure we did. Oh,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, it's good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's
Oh,
very
cheers.
good.
Cheers. When was the last time you had creaming soda? If you guys are listening at home, let us know what you're drinking.
Probably
like
it's
it.
Sizzler.
Yes, you do have this at Sizzler.
Yes.
I like
I
it.
think Ashley's sad.
It's not bad.
He's still looking at it like, why isn't this ginger beer?
Oh, and the final bit of housekeeping before we move on. The lady who held the door for Clear the Porta Potty has yet to come forward.
Yes.
So if you are that
Still
lady,
waiting.
we would love to hear from you. But honestly, that brings us into the next topic, which is, what did everyone get up to this week? I know we've already been yapping on for 10 minutes about Twilight fanfiction. That's what's so much fun about this. Jessica, before you say what you've been up to this week, I think I know what you've been up to this week.
What have I been up to?
So we needed to go to the shops to just do some groceries, ran out of milk to make some coffee, and Jess is like, I follow these Kmart pages, these ladies on Kmart, and they send out little Instagram reels, Instagram posts.
Okay, they post when Kmart and Target have new things out.
What do they have this week?
They've just brought out their entire Christmas range, and I may have gone in with a trolley, and I've bought way too much Christmas stuff.
And you guys peeked in it. You saw it in our guest
When
room
we were
before.
walking to this room, we also walked past another room, which can only be explained as the Christmas decoration room and Halloween decoration.
Shh, that's a secret.
I mean, just Christmas.
Yeah, so our guest room is basically turned into my decoration hoarding room, and I feel like it's just going to grow as the weeks go on.
It's already impressive.
Oh, thanks.
How much more are you expecting it to grow?
That's a good question. I would actually love to answer on this podcast. How much more are you wanting to pick up?
Well, Myers still hasn't even come out with a Christmas range yet, so there's plenty more stores that I'm going to be hitting up over the next month.
So we've raided Target, we've raided Kmart.
Yeah, next is Big W, and then on to Myers.
More local Australian stores that Americans probably have no idea what we're talking about. Well, Ashley, you've had a interesting week, I think. You had a birthday?
I did.
How's that going?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been really good.
The big 3-0?
That's old.
It is getting
It
old.
is actually really old.
And you know what's funny is that in the last podcast, we kept talking about, for some reason, on all our birthdays, we always seem to go to Crown.
Yes.
And
if
what
you missed
did we-
last one, Crown is kind of like, I don't know, a nice hotel here in Perth.
Yeah. And what did we get Ashley for his birthday?
What's happening tomorrow night?
Tomorrow we're going to crown.
I'm so excited.
So we get the afternoon and the night there, and you guys are going to hang out with us as well. You guys got a room as well.
Yeah.
And we're going to go out for dinner there at the Italian place.
Yeah, Italian.
Motor Mia.
Right, calzone.
I think I should get one just for good times. You know?
No. I
we're
already
going
had
to
a
an
look. They don't sell them.
We're going to escape room.
Yes, we've always wanted to go to an
I'm
escape
pumped.
room together because these two are fellow board game lovers.
I thought you were about to say baby makers because that's the problem why we haven't gone on a trip with them.
That is true. So the reason we've never done an escape room with them is because, yes, they keep popping up babies.
And then we kind of started popping up babies.
But tomorrow night, kid-free, escape room, calzones.
I love that that's our wild night.
Yeah, I
Kid-free,
know.
escape room, calzone.
Probably board games after. Yeah.
What would 21-year-old Ashley say? Like, oh, for my 30th, I'm having board games and calzones.
Probably exactly that, to be
Probably
honest.
the same. Yeah. I feel like my age is actually catching up to my life.
Yes. True.
Like I feel like I've been in my 30s for a little while now.
Yes.
And it's nice to actually have the official number to match
Feeling
it.
30.
Well, Jess is literally exactly 5 months older than me. So when she turns 30,
When I
I've pretty
turn
much been
30.
30 since May.
Totally.
Yes, exactly. He always says that. So, but Stephen does turn 30.
I was about to say,
In
I
like a
saw some
week?
balloons
Yeah.
in the lounge room.
Yes, birthday week has begun, which is fun. I'm excited to see what else. You guys will have to wait for the vlog for that.
You don't even know what's happening yet.
Yeah.
Surprises.
And Heidi, you been up to anything this week?
Oh, look, just celebrating with Ashley, really. I feel like all we've done is eaten food. I'm like, when was the last time we had dinner or lunch in our house? Like, I feel like we've just been eating all the food at all the places. Doing the fun school holiday things. Ash is a teacher, so it means we've got the last couple of weeks off. You know, I feel like we've been following you, actually. We've gone strawberry picking. We've been to like, the pool with the kids. I feel like we've just been like a few steps behind you doing the same things. But yeah, enjoying life. Starting our mornings with some roadside trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, we should bring that up.
my
It's
goodness.
so funny. So something that happens here in Australia, I'm not too sure if other countries have it.
Let us know if they do, because
Well, we call it bulk rubbish. So it's basically once a year when you have all the things in the house that are hard to dispose of, like to see if you've just bought a new oven or you've got a new mattress and you don't know how to get rid of the old one. Once a year, you can put it on your curb and then a big truck will come and take it all away. And Stephen, every morning he goes for a walk. And one person has decided to throw out their Trivia Pursuit game.
like a full good quality Trivia Pursuit game.
Well, like 5 days ago, it was good quality. It's not faring well in the rain.
I don't even know if it's there anymore.
It's not.
been stolen.
Bulk rubbish
bulk
got
rubbish.
taken away today.
No,
Literally
it's
today.
the end.
I know,
we
it's
could have
the
gone
end.
for a little walk
Devastating.
around the neighbourhood. And
So what happens is Stephen goes for a walk and he always makes sure he passes that Trivia Pursuit
it's on the way.
and he pulls out a card and then he reads it out and sends it to our little group chat and it's who can answer it first. And for some reason, Ashley always wins.
There's a big advantage in the fact that some people get up earlier than others.
It's true. Heidi's fast asleep.
I'm like 2 hours later, actually, I stood at the outside.
I know.
All right, we done those questions. All right, what have we got today? All right, question. What river is known for China's sorrow because of its flooding? All right, guesses.
Oh, that's been fun. But today's episode, and this is why we kind of wanted these guys on it, is about our wedding. So if you guys didn't know, in 2017, Jess and myself got married, and we got married in Mykonos in Greece. And of course, planning a wedding, if you've planned a wedding, you guys have planned a wedding, I'm sure you can attest to it, there's a lot that goes behind it. So planning an international wedding.
Without ever going to that country.
Yes, it was the first time we went to Greece.
Yes.
We had the best and most amazing time. Of course, there were just a couple of hiccups, and that's why we thought, we'll bring this up with you guys, because there's definitely some stories that have not been shared.
Yeah, they're good ones.
There are good ones.
And just so you know, before we get into those, on our wedding day, it was perfect.
yes.
We loved our wedding. It was our dream wedding. Like I'd always pictured to have a week where we went away with all our family and friends and kind of see it as like a family reunion and have a wedding in the middle. And that's exactly what it was. Everyone flew into Greece. It was like my first time my parents had ever gone to Europe, and I feel like that's what really like pushed them to go.
Yes.
It was the first time that all of Stephen's mum's sisters, like they were all together for the first time in years.
Yes.
So it was like a lot of special things that happened on that trip. But there were quite a few things that went wrong.
Before we jump into the things that went wrong, we actually had a question. Why did we pick Greece? I think a lot of people, I'm not sure if we had answered this.
I think,
Can I answer this?
yes.
Mamma Mia.
I knew you were going to say that. I'm like, okay, so I do have a little obsession with Mamma Mia.
A little obsession with Mamma
I
Mia.
do love it a lot. ABBA may have been playing all night on our wedding day. But another reason we chose Greece is we wanted it to be a country that basically no one had been to. So we hadn't been, our parents hadn't been, our friends hadn't been. So it was kind of like new for everyone.
You wanted to name our baby Lily James, but she's too famous. That's how much you love Mamma Mia. This is true, is it not?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, like, we're in Australia. I have family in Cape Town, have family in London. No matter what, most of the people are going to have to fly somewhere. And why not just make a family holiday out of it? And Greece was semi-central. I mean, people still had to fly a bit, but at least, a third of the wedding or 2/3 of the wedding wasn't flying to Perth.
Yes, exactly.
And I think initially when we were discussing our honeymoon, because of course, thankfully, because of our job, we can travel quite a lot. We always thought Greece would be the honeymoon destination.
So we're kind of saving it for that special time.
And then when we were deciding like where to get married, we said, well, why not we get married in Greece? Because it's such a special place. We thought it was going to be special. We said, this is like the ultimate destination. It was like the top of our bucket list. And then that's why we decided to plan that. And it was amazing. Like the whole theme behind the wedding was a family holiday.
Yes.
And we would just smack it right in the middle. So on the Wednesday,
That's the day we got married, on Heidi's birthday, actually.
Yeah, so how was our wedding, Heidi?
Yeah, did you enjoy your day?
Look, I was at home on the couch. Oh dear, I swear I'm a better friend. Look, I was a bit too pregnant. Can I just say, me and Ashley definitely were planning, like, conceiving our first child around your wedding. We were like, okay, so we're going to be in Europe on this date for the wedding. It's going to be great. But we may not have done our maths that well.
Yeah.
Or expected to get pregnant that quickly.
Or expected to get pregnant straight away. And look, we were like a few weeks from it working, which is absolutely devastating. So I didn't go. I was here for the legal one, guys. That's what counted.
The legal one.
That's where the paperwork happened.
Yeah, so
Ashley was there.
Ashley was there. He was my best man at the wedding, so thank you so much for coming out to Greece.
Hey, any opportunity to go to Greece.
See,
You didn't have to beg me.
This is what we were worried about when we were sending out the invites. I'm like, oh, is it like a big thing to ask people to fly all the way to Greece? And literally every single person said yes and came.
They're like, yeah, we can come to Mykonos for a week.
that sounds
fun."
good.
Everybody said yes.
Yeah, true. Actually,
Except
yeah.
one.
At least Hugo's so cute, so that's
He was
fine.
worth it.
First it was the calzone, then it was the wedding. Strike three.
But we honestly had the best time. Like, I know it's hard when you bring up a topic like things that went wrong with our wedding. So, like, the majority of the podcast is going to be talking, like, things that went wrong. It doesn't mean that we had a bad time. Like, we had the most incredible time.
Come on, Steve. They want to hear the bad stuff. Let's go.
But also before you said, like, you were talking about having everyone together, and there's not many times where you actually get all of the people that, like, you love all in the same place. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And
it was
not only they're all in Greece, which is even better.
and it was cool for, like, me to meet all these other people that you, like, might see on the vlogs or you might hear about, and to actually get to meet, like, Beck and Paul, for example, to meet them and hang out with them. And they're so lovely, which was, like, really cool to get to know them.
Yeah.
And, like, see all these other people as well. It was really cool.
It was really nice because, like, coming to a wedding and then you have to pay for flights, pay for accommodation, all that. It's a lot to ask, so very
Appreciate
thankful.
everyone that came.
Yeah, thank you so much. But shall we jump into some things that might have gone wrong with the wedding? I've got a list.
I thought you were going to say that you have a sound effect, and I was ready for it.
Yeah, that's the topic. Alrighty, so we are jumping into the topic of the show, which is everything that went wrong with our wedding, and I have a list, which is not too good. I'm just going to walk my way through the list.
I
and we can
remember
have
the
a
first
chat.
thing.
What is the first thing, Jessica?
So we land in Mykonos, and the first thing we needed to do was to hire a car. So we go to the hire rental place, and we go, hey, we've got a booking. And they were like, oh, yep, so just show me your driver's license, your international driver's license, and your passport, and we can set this up. So we give it all to them, and they go, oh, sorry, your international driver's license is expired.
Shame.
Yeah. So you cannot have a car. And I was like, okay, so how are we going to get around this island?
And we lost the booking, by the way.
Lost the booking. Couldn't
no
get the money
refund.
back.
They're like,
They're
that's
like-
your fault. We have been to, 85 countries, and this is the first person that's asked us for an international driver's
And we
license.
always have one on us, but I think that's the
Actually,
thing.
second time. Mario Kart in Tokyo.
Oh, yeah, and that's why we actually got it in the first place.
Was, but then it expired.
And so that's why we hadn't realised that it expired. So basically we lost the money on the car and they wouldn't give it to us. And I was like, how are we going to get around? So Stephen is literally sitting on the side of the road Googling which place would let us do it. And he found the dodgiest car rental place.
Like, this is the place you get your ATVs from. Like, they don't care, like, if drunk people are hiring it, crashing all through Mykonos.
And the only car they would let us have is a Fiat Panda. And that's like, is that what it was?
It's a Fiat Panda.
And it was the tiniest car ever. Like, it only just fit our suitcases. So I was like, okay, cool. At least we've got a car. So we, like, shove our suitcases in there. And then I'm like,
Oh, it
Stephen,
has no engine, by the way. We're
Like-
talking like a lawnmower engine.
It's
inside.
an ATV, isn't it?
It's
Which
an
might
ATV
come
in
up.
a case.
Which might come up later on.
Exactly.
Ashley knows where this is going.
So then we shove our bags in there, and then Stephen's like, okay, so pop in the address of where we're going. And I'm like, cool. So pop it in, and I go, it's not popping up. We realised I booked our accommodation on like an island next door to Mykonos. So
This place is so dodgy, by the way. So, like, you book it and just say it's like,
it was on booking.com.
cute accommodation Mykonos. What they've done is they've put it as 50 kilometres away from Mykonos. Just on an island you need to catch a boat to.
It's it's like saying that it's a really nice accommodation in Europe, but it's actually a different country.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're close by.
Yeah, they're close by. Just pop on a ferry. So we're sitting in this car. We can't go to our accommodation. Lost money on that too, by the way. Called them up and they were like, yeah, They were like, "Oh, too bad, you booked it wrong." And I'm like,
Really?
yes.
They wouldn't give us the money. So just think,
so
like,
bad.
this is 2017. We saved every single penny to pay for this wedding. We had like no money, and we've just lost $1,000 on our car. Probably $1,000 on the accommodation.
And what's worse is that we had Ashley coming in and Cleo coming in. So that was our best man and my best woman. What are they called?
Maid of honor.
Maid of honor. That's it. I had them coming in, and we got them to pay for half of this hotel. So we felt so bad because they had paid for half
No,
of
I think
this.
Ashley just booked a room, like, because he...
Yeah, that's it. We made Ashley book a room, Cleo book a room, and we booked a room. And we felt so bad. So I go to Stephen, we cannot make them pay for this accommodation. So we'll just go and find one that we can afford. So the one we found...
It's on the other side of the island, by the way.
On the other side, yeah.
Imagine trying to book accommodation for, 4 nights on that day?
Peak time. This is in July for 4 people.
So when is this when you first get to Greece?
First
First get to Mykonos?
First get to Mykonos, like, Ashley's coming in that day. We're, like, waiting for him to come in.
We wanted a few days before we moved to the villa, which is the next story.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're waiting for him to come. Anyway, so I find a place that's available, and it's literally one room with 4 beds in it. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to have to book this. And then imagine, like, Ashley and Cleo, rocking up. And I'm like, hey, guys, so we're going to take you to where we're staying, and it might be like an epic slumber party for a few days.
4 beds is right. It wasn't 2 double beds.
No,
That
it
would be
wasn't
more
2
awkward.
double
Yeah.
beds. No.
Your husband did not share a bed with my sister, if that's what
Just
you're asking.
confirming.
And the place didn't even have a pool. So what we would do is sneak into the hotel next door, and they had a pool. Do you
That's
remember, Ash?
great.
Yeah, and I remember some guy in the room right next to the pool telling Stephen and I to be quiet until like 7 in the morning because we're just like in the pool, just chatting away. Some guy's like, I'm trying to sleep. Like,
I love that though, because if they looked into it, you guys like weren't even guests of that hotel.
And it was a smoker's room, I remember, because
Yes.
it stank of
Stank
cigarettes.
of smoke was the crappiest place. But hey, we were still looking positive, and we're like, you know what? We have this beautiful villa that we're going to go to next. And that villa we'd organised, Stephen and I, for our best woman and best man to stay at, and both our parents. So we couldn't wait to all get there. So it came to the day, and we're like, yes, checking out of the smoko room.
So far, 0 regrets for you coming right now.
Just like I dodged a bullet there, like a pregnant lady in a smoko room, trying to jump the fence into the other hotel.
Yeah, so that was kind of the first couple of things. So this is within the first 24 hours
All this went wrong.
of this going wrong.
But I remember we were so excited to go to this brand new villa,
Yes.
and we shoved all our suitcases, Ashley, Cleo, all of us, into this little Fiat Panda. And then we're driving to the villa, driving through like this beautiful countryside. And then we get to this really, really steep hill.
Do you remember the hill, Ashley?
Do you remember the hill, Ashley?
steep doesn't quite do it justice. It was like a cliff. And we're going down it the whole way. We're like, we're not going to get back up the hill.
I specifically remember we needed to maybe go get some food. So we checked in. The villa was absolutely incredible. And
Yeah,
then
but-
me and Ashley needed to go and get some food. And we left it up to you. to
We were
get
like,
the car
Ashley,
up.
you need to get this Fiat Panda back up that hill.
And we tried a few times, and it was like the engine was not appropriate for a hill.
I remember
you
pushing
guys-
the car up the hill to get it out.
And it still didn't work.
How do you push a car up a hill?
It didn't work.
It
We
did
couldn't
not
get
work.
it. And so
You
eventually
were trying to Need for Speed it, right? You were like
Yes.
going around.
there was like a little place to turn around at the bottom. So I think we went down, turned it, and then just like put foot full on the throttle and kind of zigzagged up the hill. And I never took my foot off the throttle. And I was like, if someone's coming down a corner the other way, it probably would have been a full-on head-on collision.
And so we picturing it's like a snake to
Yes.
get down the hill.
So I felt like I was Paul Walker, fast and furious, all the way up this hill. And then I got to the top, and I'm like, Steve's at the bottom of the hill.
Why were you down at the bottom?
He was trying to push it, and then
Let's
Ashley
wait.
just
Oh, let's wait for
yeah,
the car.
one person was allowed in the car.
It was literally
during
an
hill
ATV.
time.
And so I parked the car at the top of the hill, and I start running back, and I meet Steve like halfway, having like a
Steve-
panic attack halfway up the hill.
Heart attack trying to get up this hill.
I literally stopped because I'm like now stressing because we had all this excitement for to have people come around, and I'm like having a literal panic attack. I've never had a panic attack in my life.
And it was over a hill. And if you ask any guest of the wedding, like, what would be one word to sum up the wedding? I bet you they would say that hill.
That's what I think of, and I wasn't there. I've heard about that hill a lot.
And we brought it up with some of the locals, and we told them, they're like, what type of car? And we told Fiat Panda, they're like, idiots.
it was all we could get.
Should we ask some guests to see if they can confirm this for us?
That's fun.
Have some little surprises for
No
them.
way. So Stephen is currently calling Beck Gransieri, who was a guest at the wedding.
What's the time in Canada? Does anyone know what time it is in Vancouver?
Hello.
Hello.
Beck!
Hello.
Jess,
Welcome to Stories from Flying the Nest.
Thank you. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I
we
can
hear
hear
you
you.
great. What is the time in Canada? I just realised.
It's 1:20 a.m.
Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry for calling you so early or so late.
Who is it?
Paul.
Yeah, that's all.
Hi, guys.
Hey, how you guys doing? If you guys aren't sure, this is Beck and Paul on the audio side of Connected by the Phone. You might have seen them from our recent Disney trip, and of course, if you were at if you watched the wedding vlog, they were there. But Beck and Paul, we were just having a little chat about our wedding and a couple of things that went wrong with it. Do you guys remember the hill at all?
How could we forget? The infamous hill.
I do think
The
that
hill that... I feel like it's the hill that made Paul a hero.
It's exactly. I was just about to say that I should really say thank you right now to Paul, because Paul did save the day. He didn't hire a Fiat Panda. He hired a proper car.
With an engine.
The Lord Wet engine.
But can I actually... Well, I was going to say, even though you had a really good car, it still struggled on that hill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember distinctly the smell from the engine after the multiple trips up the hill. I felt bad taking it back. But you know what they say, when you rent a car, you drive it like you stole it.
And you definitely did.
I did.
Yeah, because everyone flew in. So my parents and Stephen's parents flew in. And we were like, if we try and bring them down in this Fiat Panda, we're not getting back up.
But one night, Paul came through and saved
he
her.
drove about 3 or 4 times up and down that hill, and that is where he almost broke his car, taking my parents, my mum will remember. She said it was like her first time going on a roller coaster. That's what she felt like.
They were hilarious because we had never met your parents before. And it was our first time meeting them, and the whole way there, your mum was like cursing and freaking out, and your dad was like cracking jokes, and it was like the funniest introduction to your parents ever.
What a great way to meet Jess's parents.
We became very close after that.
That night.
Oh, well, I'm glad you guys remembered the crazy hill. And now we have 3 people that have confirmed how crazy that hill was. Thanks so much, guys.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. Growing up, I loved rally driving. It was the closest thing I've ever done.
Now people know that we're not exaggerating about this hill.
No, well,
No.
and even in our good rental car with the good engine and Paul's crazy rally driving skills, there was still one attempt up the hill that we had to roll back down
We
and
did.
then then try again.
How crazy
Yeah, we were
is
squealing
that?
wheels,
I told
burning engines.
See, when
Yeah,
Ashley
it's
calls
great.
it a cliff, it really was a cliff.
100%. You guys were like considering moving villas at one point before you discovered the taxi service because you were like, we cannot make Paul drive up this bloody hill.
Yeah, we felt
4 or
so
5
bad.
times a night.
Oh, it's okay. I loved every minute of it.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you being up for the phone call and also for all your help on the wedding. We'll have to one day have you guys properly on the podcast.
Sounds good. We
Sounds
love
great.
that.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. And
Thanks,
once again,
guys.
thanks for saving the day. Sweet dreams.
Bye.
Bye.
I didn't know you were going to call them.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from them in ages.
Oh, yeah. We need to Skype
That's
them. We
nice.
said we'll Skype them on the weekend. We
I
did
know.
not. We're bad people.
I have
Yes,
to say,
the
with the
hill.
villa,
Yes.
it was so terrible going up and down that hill, but that's what made it really cool. It had this incredible view over the water, like one of the bays there, and that made it pretty special.
That's the
it was a
thing.
really
It's
cool
like hard-
villa to be at.
You're hard to get to, but still beautiful. But also one thing about that villa is that it was so beautiful, except we had 1 too many people staying at the villa. So where did you have to stay at?
Oh, I forgot about this.
You kind of
Like the
stayed in the
dungeon
dungeon.
underneath.
Exactly. Did you have aircon?
No, I don't think so.
I remember the first night he stayed in his dungeon. So it's basically there was the villa, and then there was this one room randomly underground outside.
There was the porch area, and then there was a staircase down, and then there was this underground room with a bathroom attached to it.
All I thought of is like Ashley came up the next day and you could just tell he'd been sweating all night. I just felt so bad because first of all we made him stay in the smoko room and then we get to this beautiful villa and like had such nice, scenery, but I'm like, Ashley, you're gonna have to kind of stay in the dungeon.
That was fun. I think it worked out well because it was like all your family in the villa. And then I was the only like non-family member, so I got my own space away down the bottom.
So
there.
Another reason why it was a good thing Heidi wasn't there.
Oh,
Because otherwise, a pregnant lady in a dungeon.
I think we would have just had to switch rooms. That was just too much. Alrighty, everybody, we had to do a very quick break because somebody, little guest appearance, had just woke up from her nap. If you're listening on audio, little Hunter, our baby, has just joined us on the podcast. We need to get a little microphone for her. Do you want to say hi?
Is there anything you'd like to say?
She's now trying to eat the microphone.
So I think we're going to have a little guest for the rest of the podcast. But hey, that's what it's like being new parents deciding to start a podcast.
So we were continuing on with the stories of the villa.
Yes, so the villa. There's a whole nother story about that too.
And I feel like we need to give a little bit of context to the story because when we organised the villa, we wanted to have the most amazing wedding and we wanted as much as possible to cover the costs of everybody that was coming to the wedding where we could. And we managed to get a discount on the wedding villa.
Yeah, it was an Airbnb.
It was an Airbnb and we managed to get the discount on it in like return for like being put in front of our YouTube videos, which is like very common in what we do for work. We just wanted to kind of do as much as possible for our family and friends. So they gave us a discount and said, hey, yeah, just like, mention where you're staying, like put a link to the Airbnb. That's all great.
And we were like, that is fine. But normally when we're telling people where we're staying, we normally tell them once we've left because you don't exactly want all these people to know exactly where you are all the time.
Yes, it's definitely a topic we can bring up another time because, of course, because we have quite a few followers around the world, you kind of have to worry about safety. And especially like now that we're parents. But on the wedding day, it wasn't just us that were at the wedding villa. It was my mom and dad, your mom and dad, Ashley was there, Cleo was there. So we wanted to be like, we'll post everything the following week once we've left.
But we didn't tell them this. Yeah. So it got to the day of the wedding and Stephen gets a little message on his phone. And what did that message say, Stephen?
This is literally my wedding day. Like I am getting, I don't know, I'm showering or I'm getting dressed for the wedding and I get a message from not the owner of the villa. So a very common practice in Greece is that they just let someone else deal with the Airbnb listing. So like what would you call them? Like a holiday home manager. Yes. So I get a message. Actually, no, I'll get a phone call. So I'm like all happy. Wedding's amazing. I get this phone call. It's me like, hi, Stephen, we're coming to kick you out the villa.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's very dramatic.
So dramatic. And I'm like, excuse me? She's like, we're coming to kick you out the villa. The owner is so not impressed that you guys haven't posted anything.
And we'd been there for 2 days.
He's like, you need... But she was like playing devil's advocate. She was on our side and she was on his side, but probably more on his side because... it's her boss. So she was like, he's not impressed. He hasn't posted anything. You're not promoting. You're just getting like, all this like discount for nothing. And we're like, oh, well, it is my wedding day. And then I tried to explain, I tried to extinguish the fire a bit saying, hey, usually we post the week after. Like it was definitely our fault for not mentioning that. She's like, just post something and then that can be fine. So Mykonos.
Literally the wedding day where they're putting our makeup on. And Stephen is there whipping out his drone.
Because I was like...
yes, and he couldn't just take a photo. He was like, you know what? If they want promotion, I'm going to bring out my drone and get this epic drone shot that I can put on my Instagram. And he decides to do it on the windiest day ever.
Do you know what Mykonos, the Greek name for...
The Windy Island?
The Windy Island, yes. It's literally called the Windy Island. So yeah, I'm flying this drone and I am so nervous because I've never flown my drone in this weather. Now imagine on my wedding day, this drone just getting flown off. I think I took it up for 10 seconds and had 8 seconds of usable footage. And then our wedding photographers rock up and I'm on my computer in my editing software and oh, hey, what are what are you doing? I was like, just quickly putting up a post on our Facebook page. And like, oh, okay, it's Jess here, so I can do some photos. Like, yeah, she's just over there.
So literally half an hour before he leaves for the wedding, he's there posting an Instagram post. But because of that post, they loved it.
Yes, the boss was very happy. They're like,
wow,
I've never seen my villa from that view before. And I was like, okay, let me just get married. We can talk next week. So, yeah, that was a very nerve-wracking story.
But then after that, we got married and it was amazing. And then like the day after the wedding, how good was that day, Ash?
That was really cool. The wedding was awesome. Like just the venue of Mykonos and just like how amazingly beautiful it was. It made it such a cool day. And then going around taking all those photos.
Yeah, I was going to say that. And like everyone like kept coming up to us being like, oh my gosh, like congratulations, you get like on your wedding.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
That was quite funny. Like I felt like Cleo and I were like, they didn't quite know what to do with us. Because I think like in Australia, usually the groomsmen and the bridesmaids are a very big part of like the photos. Whereas, like, the photographers, they were like, who are these two people with the bride and groom annoying us?
So Ashley basically became the guy that, like, held all the bouquets.
Yes.
And he was in one photo.
I think one photo of me, like, holding the stuff. Yeah. And then every now and then they'd get, like, Cleo in for one. But we just kind of followed around, which is all really cool to, like, see all of that happen and, like, go around and walk around all the streets with you guys, which is really cool.
And I think we were saying to them, like, we would like photos with our groomsmen.
They're like, oh, really? And they're like, okay. Like, yeah.
And so I don't know whether it's like a cultural thing or just the photographers, but they seem to have no understanding of why we were there.
No, I mean, we did get beautiful wedding photos done.
Yes, I remember on the last night of the wedding.
I don't remember this story.
We all went out for dinner. And every single person that ordered the lamb got food poisoning. Just to top it all off.
What did you order that night, Ashley?
Lamb. And like 24 hours later, I'm in Croatia, like vomiting for a whole day.
And I just get messages from all these people going, was anyone else sick after that dinner? And I'm like, oh, I felt so bad.
I would love to call Paul back in, but it's probably like 2 a.m. over there.
Paul definitely ordered
Paul,
the lamb.
Ricky.
Yeah.
Yes, my cousin.
I got sick. A couple of others got sick.
Vegetarians are safe.
No, we were all
For the
good.
win.
But luckily it was like one day and then it was like absolutely fine.
Yeah, you said it was like a 24-hour bug.
Oh, then that's fine then. And we were
fine.
It was so bad. We invited you to come all the way to Greece, smoko room, and then the villa in the dungeon, followed by food poisoning. We're great friends. I'm surprised we're still friends 3 years later.
That's the thing. It's like experiences like that bring you even closer.
It's all fun. Yeah. And you're in Greece. You're in Mykonos. And like that day we went out at the ATVs was so much fun.
Yeah.
I think that's all the bad stories. There's no more, is there?
No. That's quite a few, right?
That's
and to still have an amazing day.
So that was over the course of 4 or 5 days. But a couple of you had some questions. So we are doing reader listener mail. Did we decide what we wanted to do? So if you head to flyinthenest.tv/podcast, we had like so many questions sent in. So I'm going to try pick some which maybe are topics we haven't talked about and answer some quick questions. Also for next week's podcast, I'll tell you what the question is because it's a fun topic for next week. But let's just jump into some questions. Why wasn't our wedding legal in Greece?
Ah, good question. So yes, also when we got married in Greece, we left actually still not technically married. And that's because if you want to organize a legal wedding in Greece, it's so expensive, so complicated. So we thought, you know what? Let's just have 2 weddings. And that way, Heidi could come to the second one.
Yep.
So we were very lazy about it. We got married in July. We didn't get legally married until February the next year. So we came back to Perth and we just had like a little tiny small gathering and made it all legal. So
Yeah.
now we are legally married.
Did Jess have any Bridezilla moments?
Oh, what do you think? I know I was feeling a little bit stressed just before we got there because I planned everything over email. Like if I wanted the cake, I just found a random bakery, told them, could you make a cake for 20 people? And then they made it. And one tip I have is don't tell them it's for a wedding because I got my wedding cake for like 80 euros.
Yes, and we got married at a hotel, beautiful venue, and they were like, yeah, 400 euros. So we're like,
so we'll just go to the bakery.
And we're just like, can we just make like a really cool carrot cake, best carrot cake I've ever had, and just make it look like nice, and we wanted that messy look, put some olive leaves on it. 80 euros.
So I don't know if I had any Bridezilla moments, but I definitely had those
No,
like
you were so chill.
wedding nerves.
Yes, and also we were about to get kicked out of our villa.
Like I remember after the week of our wedding, we'd like lost 5 kilos.
Yes. Oh my god, I looked like a skeleton back then.
I think you were super busy, weren't you? Because you had to go over to Athens
Yeah.
for like the dress and a
that's
couple of other
another-
things as well. So you were going
Just
around a
remembering
few
more
different
things.
places. So you were like super, super busy.
Yeah, I got my dress made for my wedding like a week before the wedding. Is that so weird?
Oh, you got it made at
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I got my wedding dress made like a week before, handmade.
Oh,
I know. I'm
my.
so just last minute with everything, and that's why I can't believe it all worked out.
And
It's
like
a
even
great
the-
dress.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
Even the celebrant, I met him at the ceremony. It was
So
like,
we literally
"Hi,
walked down the aisle.
I forgot his name. Hi, I'm John. How are you going to do this? I was like, I don't know. You just run the show, and then dun 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 dun, or
And
whatever
then
the
I
music
just started
started.
walking.
Someone then asked, "Did Stephen cry at the wedding?"
Yes.
Oh, Stevie.
I remember when we got to the part where we were all saying the speeches. And I remember going to Stephen, I'm going to say some of the speech. I'm going to do it. And I got up there and I just look at Stephen and go, you can do this. Like I just started crying.
Just to give some context, I don't cry ever. I think you can attest to that, right?
Yeah, he never ever cries.
It's not that I'm like not an emotional person. I just never cry. I don't know. I think you do all the crying for both of us because you're the
I'm a
complete
big crier.
So I think on the day, like I think literally for the last 3 years, I've cried twice. Hunter's birth and the wedding. Like that's how I'm sure some people out there think that's crazy. So I think on the day I did when I was doing my speeches because I think I really appreciated everyone that came. And I don't even, what we started with your dad and I just started crying.
Yeah. Because he thanked every single person and then like said something special about each person. It was really nice.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. I mean, if you're going to cry 2 times in your life, you've picked the right days.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty special days. Did you ever get cold feet?
No.
No.
Imagine if I was like, actually, I've never brought this up, but yes.
No, I mean, we'd been dating for 10 years by the time we got married. Like,
You guys were a married couple like 10 years ago. Let's be real.
Exactly. This just made it more final.
How was your guys' wedding? Like, was it good memes?
Oh, it was good memories. I
No
remember
cold
it being really hot. Can I just say that? I think it was like 40 degrees. No, no cold feet. Ashley?
No.
Don't reveal it now.
Actually.
I know where they stayed
No,
on their.
not at all.
I know where they stayed on their wedding night. The crown.
Oh, dear.
I feel like
No, our wedding was awesome. Yeah, probably one of my favorite days ever. It was really cool.
Yes.
I cry all the time and I didn't cry on my wedding day. So I was a little bit embarrassed. I was
Really?
like, this does mean something to me, but there's just no tears coming.
Were you just nervous?
I don't know. I guess it must have been that. Yeah.
and a lot of pressure because you're like, you should cry on this day.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I hear often people that think they won't cry bawl their eyes out, and people that think they will cry seem to hold it together.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you cry?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
See, I was worried I might as well. Because I'm like similar with Steve, as in, like, I never cry.
Wait, sorry.
Unless,
Wait a
except, I'm getting there. Except when Heidi writes me like a card and then it's like waterworks.
And by card, it could be a post-it note. Tears every time.
What, like, I've left sandwich in the box?
Literally could be that, but if I said a really like nice I love you at the bottom with XX, the tears.
That's cute.
It's just Heidi.
Are you saying we didn't need to book you a night at the Crown?
I
We could have
just
just
written you a
wrote
little
post-it note.
Just written something nice. Yeah. So I thought I might have, like, up there, like, because we're talking, we're saying all this stuff, but no, I think it was just, don't know. Didn't cry.
We were like, we loved your guys' wedding because I think that was the first wedding we went to. And initially, when we were going to get married, we were like, obviously just going to steal your wedding. Yeah.
We went and looked.
Chapel
Oh, really?
Farm.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but then we're like, oh, maybe it
Well, maybe we'll do Mykonos.
Yeah, exactly.
It beats the University of Western Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that was such a cool venue, you know, the whole outdoor, indoor, like, we loved it. It was good.
Nice.
So I thought I'd do a little segment just to wrap up the entire podcast, is read a couple of reviews, because this is a brand new podcast. If you're listening to this, it honestly helps us out so much if you could go leave a review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere, it really does help us out a lot. And we thought we'd read some of your comments for some of the people that have left some reviews.
And I haven't read these yet. Stephen said, don't read them. I'll read them to you on the podcast.
So the first one comes from Socks Rocks. I feel like that's a username. I give the podcast a 1-star review on Yelp. Because I work at Oscars. Revenge is
Oh, that's so funny. Oscars.
So if you didn't listen to the last podcast, we kind of ripped into this restaurant, and this girl works at Oscars.
Apologies. They said, I did enjoy it tremendously. Great job, but I had to do Revenge is Sweet. And the final one comes from Merv. And I picked this one out because I feel like it rounded up the whole feel of what we want this podcast to be. Hunter's giving her a review.
Hunter was actually Merv on the keyboard.
So advanced. Okay, so I started watching this on YouTube and then switched to Spotify to complete some chores around the house. I just love your dynamic. It just feels like I'm listening to a friend.
Aww,
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Or was it Hunter?
Oh, Hunter. Thanks, baby Hunter.
Yeah, but that kind of wraps up this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was so much fun to talk about the wedding and how we had like an awesome time. Next week's podcast is going to be such a fun one. Hunter's getting excited for it. This is meant to be like stories from our travels, and I feel like the last two have not been stories from our travel. Yeah, Hunter, yeah, I understand. Alrighty, so many of you guys ask us, what is your favorite country in the world?
We thought next podcast, it is finally time to work that out once and for all.
And we're not just going to sit down 2-minute podcast saying, it's this country, it's that country. We're going to do it football style, is it called? Where we're going to draw our countries that we've been to out of a list, and we're going to fight them off. And we have to kind of like decide between those two, and they work their way up the ladder. And then whoever wins, that has to be it. That's the official Fly in the Nest best country in the world for you to visit. So if you guys have any questions like travel, country related, head to flyinthenest.tv/podcast to send your questions in. And the next time is going to be fun. It's going to be a good one. Thank you so much for having Ashley and Heidi on our podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
One last thing to come out of the little box. We always like to help out the people that come on our channel. If you are watching the video one, what is this that I'm holding, Heidi?
Look, you've got some earrings.
Oh, I've got some earrings, and it says, While Hugo Sleeps. Why don't you let us know a very quick, what is While Hugo Sleeps?
That's very sweet. Look, this is my little side biz in my mum life of I make earrings.
She
and
makes
I have a little
earrings?
website. Yeah. And Jess wears them so well as well.
I love them.
She's my model.
If you guys enjoyed Heidi and Ashley on there and you wanted to help support them as well, head to whilehugosleeps.com. She makes little earrings while Hugo sleeps, so it's a little thing to help them out. Well, yeah.
But to end the podcast, I know you all want to hear it one more time. So, yes, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you later on.
It's the little podcast by Stephen Jess. It's the stories by Fly in the Nest.
Hunter doesn't like this. I'm with her on the same page.
Stories to tell.